Well, fantastic, ain't it? Alright guys, I'm back with another video. Welcome to Reviews by Hunter. My name is Hunter. And today, Fantastic Four First Steps. I got a chance to see it yesterday afternoon with a friend who invited me to go see it. And I gotta say, man, for being one of the most hyped up movies of the year, big expectations going in, I did overall like the movie. I think that some people I'm already seeing aren't super big on it. I think it's enjoyable. I just don't think it's probably like an Avengers level movie as far as how well it's gonna be received. But let's get into it. Fantastic Four First Steps, okay? So this movie, let's just get right into kind of the basic synopsis, right? The Fantastic Four are having to defend the Earth from Galactus and the Silver Surfer. And this actually takes place on Earth, I believe, 828. So this is not in the main Marvel universe that we are familiar with. This takes place in a completely different universe, right? So first of all, I think the casting was a big topic of discussion, and I think everyone actually did really well in their role. Vanessa Kirby as Invisible Woman was really, really good. She is like a very fierce, confident character, but she didn't overwhelm the other characters, which I liked. There was just a right amount of balance. Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. So I think he did a good job. I think the Chris Evans, Johnny Storm, Human Torch will always like hold a place in my heart, but I did like this version of the character. Honestly, I think Johnny Storm was like one of the best parts of the film. He might have been like the MVP of the movie in terms of them having to defend their world from Galactus and the Silver Surfer. Pedro Pascal. I saw the vision the more that I watched the movie. I get why they cast him as Reed Richards. I think he should have probably shaved the mustache to like look a little bit more accurate. A little bit of Pedro Pascal fatigue. I feel like I reviewed like 3 movies this year that have Pedro Pascal in it, but he does do a good job overall as Mr. Fantastic. You guys know I suck with names. Eben Moss Bachrach, the guy from The Bear, he plays the Thing. He looks good. Listen, unfortunately, he doesn't clobber much of anything, sadly, but I think the screen time, I think for what the actor was given, I think he did good. That's how I feel about his performance. And the other things that I really liked about this movie was visually, this movie looks amazing. Specifically the scenes that take place in space. There's a really cool chase scene in the film with Silver Surfer Shia LaBeouf chasing the Fantastic Four like relentlessly. At one point they think that they lost her because I think they went into like hyperdrive or something, and she was still following them. She was a good character, by the way. I think played by Julie Garner. Did a really, really good job with that character. Yeah, the visuals in this movie look way better than what I've been seeing in recent Marvel movies. I think the aesthetic looked awesome. I really liked the color scheming with like the blue and white mixed with like this retro vibe, but also futuristic. It makes for a very cool atmosphere, a cool setting. I felt like this was absolutely taking place in a different universe than what we're used to seeing in the MCU, and I can appreciate that. Oh my gosh, Johnny Storm's flames looked so freaking cool, man. I absolutely loved the visuals. Every time he turned his flames on, it looked so good. And that makes me happy because I love Johnny Storm. Invisible Woman, her like force field generations, I like the effects that they gave those too. Those looked good. Another thing that this movie does well is that the antagonists, Galactus, Silver Surfer, they do feel like they're a big threat. It feels like they are to be taken seriously. It feels like the characters in the movie have to take these antagonists seriously, and therefore so do I, right? And the stakes in the film, right? Galactus is coming for Earth. He is going to consume Earth, and eventually he figures out that Vanessa Kirby's character, Invisible Woman, is pregnant with Franklin Richards. Oh, by the way, spoilers in this movie review, as there always is. So then it turns out Galactus wants Franklin Richards because he says that this child is so powerful that he could relieve Galactus of his universal duties of having to consume planets. Okay, I did miss a little bit of dialogue while Galactus was explaining why specifically he wanted Franklin Richards. Unfortunately, there was some talking going on in the theater. PG-13 movie, there's going to be kids, so... Okay, technical difficulties, but I'm back. So where was I? I went through what I did like. Oh, the last thing, I like that the stakes in the movie do feel big, right? Galactus is going to consume their world. And they have to decide, are they going to give up their child, which Galactus requests, or are they going to try to figure out a different way to defeat him? So let's get into like some of the things I didn't love about the film. Sorry. So one thing is, this movie needed more showcasing for the superpowers. I feel like we didn't get enough seeing the Fantastic Four being fantastic with Reed Richards' stretching ability, which is used very sparingly throughout this film. The Thing barely gets to clobber. Actually, honestly, he doesn't clobber anything throughout the whole film. There's one scene where he has an offensive move in a superhero movie, and they used it in a teaser where Human Torch is carrying the Thing, and he kind of puts himself in a cannonball position. Human Torch drops him, and he slams into Galactus near the end of the film with the last big fight. But other than that, the Thing doesn't really get to use his powers all that much. So that was odd. Also, this is a minor thing, but Johnny Storm, from what I could hear, never actually says "Flame On." The way that they do it is there's a toy that says "Flame On," and then the Thing is like, "Nah, flame off." But he doesn't actually power up and say the "Flame On." I don't know why directors like to do this, where it's like, dude, you have the easiest fan service, like, thing in front of you. I guarantee you the fans would have loved to hear that. But no, he never actually says it from what I heard. Another thing is Galactus just needed more screen time, man. For some reason, another thing Marvel has a hard time with is allowing the audience to take in some of these on-screen spectacles. They did the same thing with Captain America: Brave New World, where Red Hulk is literally in the film for like probably 5 minutes. I don't know exactly how long Galactus is on screen in this film. It wasn't enough. I think he could have used another 5 minutes or so of Galactus. We've been waiting for years and years to see this character brought to life on screen, and the guy who voice acted him did an amazing job, but I wanted to see a little bit more. My friend that I went with also pointed out that maybe there was a little bit of pacing issues. I don't think I noticed it as much as he did, but it is kind of noticeable, but not a huge deal for me. One thing that I struggle with this movie is it's so hard for me, and I saw it yesterday, it's so hard for me to sit here and remember super cool things that happened. Unfortunately, there's just not many. Like, there is a cool space scene. Again, the visuals in space are great, where Silver Surfer, Shell Ball, is chasing the Fantastic Four through space, and this happens because while the Fantastic Four, I think, are trying to track, like, they're trying to basically track where Galactus is and observe, right? Kind of study him. And what happens is they get found first. And so Silver Surfer's like, Galactus, we'll see you now. Brings them on to, I don't even know where I guess their ship or whatever it is. Yeah, onto the ship, and there's Galactus. And he scans the Fantastic Four with his power, notices that Invisible Woman is pregnant, and he says that he wants the child because the child has the power cosmic and could relieve him of his universal duty of having to consume planets. Obviously, the Fantastic Four are like, yeah, no, you're not taking our child, which pisses off Galactus, and so Johnny Storm attacks him with his flames, which actually does injure Galactus, which is cool. So they book it. They run for it. They get back onto Excelsior, and are running away. Well, Shalal Ball is chasing them down. That was a very cool scene. They end up getting her trapped in a time dilation by like flying super close to like a black hole, which also causes time dilation for the Fantastic Four because they don't return to Earth until a month later from the time they left. Also, while this is, I forgot to mention, Galactus uses his abilities to induce labor onto Invisible Woman before they escape. So Invisible Woman is on Excelsior while the Thing is piloting, and you have Johnny Storm who is manning their the thing that just fires like these laser blasts, and then you have Reed Richards who's trying to help Invisible Woman give birth as they are being hunted down by the Silver Surfer through space. That was a really fun scene, visually fun to watch. I liked it. That was cool. And then she does give birth to her baby and names him Franklin. So we have Franklin Richards. They do get away. They trap the Silver Surfer. They said it would take her a month to escape. I can't remember if it actually did take her that long to escape. But other than that, like, man, it's hard for me to remember super cool things, heroic things that happened in the film. I mean, like I said, I like the blue and the white aesthetic of the movie. That looks really cool. And I loved how the theme of family is present throughout this entire film, right? Because the Fantastic Four are not only faced with Galactus, they're faced with Galactus who wants to take their newborn son. And what happens is when they return to Earth, they tell the people of Earth, like, this is what Galactus told us, we declined. So, similarly to Superman, the people of Earth turn on the Fantastic Four. And they start calling them selfish. How could you do this to us? You know, we got families too. You're going to let us all die. And so Invisible Woman goes out one night with her son and gives this speech. And the gist of the speech is that, listen, I know you're scared, but, and this is the quote that she gives. She says, what did she say? I will not sacrifice my child for this world, but I will not sacrifice this world for my child. All right? We will get through this together as a family. And the people of Earth kind of come back to their senses. They are on the Fantastic Four's side now. So then the movie turns into all right, how do we deal with Galactus? Reed Richards at first literally is like, I don't know, until eventually Invisible Woman says something that I guess sparks something in his brain. And he says, all right, here's what we're going to do. What we are going to build, because in the movie, he had been working on this device where he was able to teleport an egg from like one side of the room to the other. And he's like, I can do that, but with the world, the only difference between the planet Earth and an egg is scale. So he tells the people of Earth, listen, I need these devices built around the entire Earth. Okay, we're gonna teleport our planet to a different part of the universe where Galactus cannot find us. That is the initial plan. All of planet Earth buys into this. I can't remember if I already said this in the review or not, but in this universe, the Fantastic Four are like celebrities. People love the Fantastic Four. They are the superheroes, and so their word carries a lot of weight. So every country in the world buys in except Latvia, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. And so around the world they start building these devices called a bridge, I think. And what happens is on the day that they are going to, well, teleport the Earth, there's this big countdown. 10, 9, 8, gets down to like 3. Silver Surfer returns and starts smashing all of these teleportation devices except one. So now the plan has to change, and eventually Reed Richards says, okay, we can't teleport the Earth now, but what we can do is trap Galactus in one of these portals and transport him so far away from the Earth in some dark corner of the universe. Without his ship, he'll be stranded and he won't be able to hurt us. So that's the new plan. But then the question is, well, how do we get him in the portal, right? Well, he wants the baby. So they use Franklin Richards as bait to lure Galactus to Earth. The goal is for them to trick him, but Galactus catches on pretty quickly. He even says, oh, you clever little bugs, right? So now it's the Fantastic Four versus Galactus. And I think this fight was enjoyable for the most part. Again, we see mostly Human Torch using his abilities, kind of like firing fire blasts at Galactus. At one point, he burns him in the eyes. And then you have Invisible Woman, because I think, oh, so now that I'm remembering correctly, Galactus he scans the Earth again, or he scans the surroundings. He sees that they tried to swap babies. They tried to put a fake baby inside of the area for the teleportation so that Galactus would step into it, grab it, it would be a fake baby, and they would teleport him out. Galactus figures this out, figures out that he's actually in, I don't even know what the official name for it is, where the Fantastic Four live. And he gets Franklin Richards. He has him. So now Reed Richards is on the duty of saving the baby. Invisible Woman is using her power to try and force Galactus into this area so that they can transport him. He at one point grabs the thing and flings him into space. Again, I want to see more stuff like that. Incredible feats like that where the thing, he grabs him, he tosses him into space. That's sick. Of course, Johnny Storm goes and gets him, saves him, and that is the scene where Johnny Storm is like, say it, Ben, say it. The thing is like, I don't want to say it. He's like, say it. It's clobbering time. And he drops the thing going, I don't know how fast, onto Galactus, and the thing is like a cannonball. That was pretty cool. And then, surprisingly, Invisible Woman is like really strong in this movie compared to the 2005 version. She is competently fighting against Galactus using her powers. She's controlling him and pushing him backwards into the zone that they need. But of course, Reed is saying, hey, you need to stop. You're using too much power. And she's like, no, stop. Just go save our son. All right? So what happens is Invisible Woman uses pretty much all of her strength. It drains her life force because she pushes her power to the limit. But she does get Galactus into the range needed for them to teleport him. Now, at first he goes through the portal. But because he's freaking Galactus, he crawls back out of the portal. And they're like, you're kidding me. So Human Torch is about to sacrifice himself, okay? Human Torch says, tell Franklin Uncle Johnny loves him. And he just starts going like Mach speed towards Galactus. He's going to sacrifice himself by, tackling Galactus back into this portal. All of a sudden, he gets intercepted by Silver Surfer. Boom. Silver Surfer comes back. I don't think I explained this yet in the review, but at one point, the Human Torch basically decoded these old messages from other worlds that Shia LaBeouf had destroyed. This makes her kind of almost have like a PTSD reaction to it. And so she disappears for a while because she is remorseful about her role right now. But I think Johnny Storm was able to get through to her, and she ends up helping the Fantastic Four, knocking Galactus into the portal. Her and Galactus are now stranded somewhere in the universe, far, far away from the Fantastic Four. And, well, that is how they win. However, at first, it appears that Invisible Woman is dead until Franklin Richards, the magical baby, uses his power to revive her. And that's pretty much how the film wraps up. Again, the film after that kind of just ends. And my friend and I kind of looked at each other like, there's no more? Like, I know the way I tried to describe it in a way that would be fun for you guys, but honestly, watching this movie in its entirety, the super heroism is lacking in the film for me. So like I said, there's things I liked, things I didn't like, but overall, what would I rate Fantastic Four First Steps? I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. I think comparing this to Superman is probably, I think Superman was the better movie. I just do. I think Superman had more entertainment value, and I'm a Marvel guy, but this, for all that the movie did well, right? I love the aesthetic. I love the retro feel. I love that, as my friend put it, this movie felt very contained. The Fantastic Four, this didn't feel like a setup movie. This feels like the Fantastic Four were presented a huge threat, and they had to figure out how to deal with said threat without having it necessarily to connect it to all these different universes and multiverse BS and stuff like that. I feel like I'm torn on this film. I know it had high expectations. I think this movie needed more time, like 15 minutes more. This movie felt short. It's like 2 hours, but when it ended, I felt like there was something missing, and that's not good, right? Um, Listen, for all they did well, I think that's my major complaint. Give the Thing more to do than just pilot. Let the Fantastic Four be fantastic with a showcase of their powers. There was too much telling, not showing. They tell us at the beginning of the movie how much people love the Fantastic Four and how for the past 4 years they've been protecting the Earth with their amazing powers. I wanted to see more of it. I wanted to see more of it, and I get it. They're up against Galactus and the Silver Surfer. There's only so much they can do with their powers. That's why they had to come up with the scheme of teleporting away from this guy because he's such a huge threat. But entertainment wise, I just felt like it was good, worth seeing in theaters. I do feel like a lot of love and passion was put into the film, and you can tell because none of the actors are phoning it in. Everybody is taking their role seriously. There's humor in the film, but not the cheesy MCU like 20 jokes a second. This whole situation, the characters take seriously, and so I also take it seriously. And I think that was a big criticism for Marvel that they did try to remedy in this film. I think Pedro Pascal as Reed was okay. He's passable. I still think he should have shaved the mustache, and I think they should have let him use his stretching ability more. Again, there's also a weird plot point. I don't know if it's a plot point, but there's this weird thing where the Thing goes to visit this woman named Rachel, I think, like 3 separate times in the film, and it's supposed to be like a romance thing, but it doesn't actually go anywhere. I feel like if you were to cut it out of the film, it wouldn't have mattered, and maybe we could have gotten more action scenes instead. Joseph Quinn, man, he's really becoming he's becoming a really good like a mainstream like A-list actor, and I think his version of Johnny Storm was interesting because this version of Johnny Storm he wasn't an idiot. He still had a little bit of like the hotshot personality, but he is portrayed as being very intelligent. Maybe not smartest man of the universe intelligent, but he is the one that deciphered the language that Shia LaBeouf was speaking, which is something I thought Reed Richards would have done. And he's also is a slightly reckless at times in the film, but still very competent. It felt like he had the best use of his powers throughout the film. Invisible Woman, probably my favorite version of Invisible Woman. I love that she was so confident, but she did not overwhelm the rest of the Fantastic Four. And I like that. And I like that she is so like, she stands her ground about not giving up her son, right? Because family. They're going to figure it out as a family. The Fantastic Four are the premier superheroes on this earth, and they really are the hope of planet Earth. It very much feels like it's the Fantastic Four or it's nothing. And I do think that also made the characters feel also, more important as well. And so, did I want to give this movie a 7 out of 10? No, I was hoping it would at least be like an 8.5, guys. High expectations. Budget was $200+ million. I do not know how much money this film will make. Superman is projected to hit at its height like $700 million. I think this movie, if I just had to give it a wild guess, box office height is gonna come around $500 million, maybe $550, and that's maybe being generous, right? Because listen, most people that I know don't go to the movies that much anymore, so a lot of people are gonna pick between this and Superman. I've already seen Superman, and now I've seen this, and I will say if I had to recommend one movie, you could only go to one, it wouldn't be this movie. It would be Superman, right? So, and even having said that, I do still think it's a step in the right direction for the MCU. I like that they really actually put care into the setting and the atmosphere. I like that the casting felt like they had good chemistry, man. They had good chemistry. It felt like they tried. I will give them that. They tried, but there are just a couple of things I wish they would have tweaked a little bit. There is, and of course, as always, there are spoilers in this review. There's a mid-credit post scene after the film. where Invisible Woman is spending time with Franklin, who's a little bit more grown up, not a lot, but he's not an infant anymore. And she's saying like, "Oh, where's that book that he really loves?" And they're looking for this book. And then all of a sudden, she feels like something's off, and she's kind of peeking around the corner, starts to get her powers ready. And all of a sudden, all you see is Franklin Richards standing there, and next to him, kneeling down, is Doctor Doom. We don't see his face though. His back is turned towards the camera. It's very quick, and then and then it cuts back to the credits. There's a post-credit scene that wasn't really worth staying for. It was just like the Fantastic Four in like a cartoonish style, almost like a promo ad type of thing. It wasn't really worth staying for. My theater was fairly packed for this, and I went on a Thursday at 2 p.m. So, I mean, that's encouraging to see that, you know, people are invested in this, but I've already seen a couple of comments saying, "Oh man, I didn't like this," and this was not the movie that you wanted people saying, "Oh boy, I didn't like this." This was supposed to be like big, and it's a good Marvel movie, but boy oh boy, do I think there are still much better Marvel movies. It's probably the best Marvel movie of this year. However, in recent memory, I would put Deadpool and Wolverine over this. I would put Guardians of the Galaxy over this. Thunderbolts, I think I may have rated Thunderbolts higher than this actually, and I thought Thunderbolts was just kind of okay. Having said all that, have you guys seen the Fantastic Four First Steps? What did you think about it? Is there anything major that I may have forgotten or left down? That's absolutely possible. I'm human. My memory sucks, even though I have a movie review channel. So I took lots of notes on this. I mean, I went through all my notes, guys. I thought I would have more to say on this film. It's just, like I said, the plot is pretty straightforward. They're defending the Earth from Galactus and Silver Surfer. Galactus wants the child, but they're not going to give the child up. Okay. And other than that, you hope that you see cool superhero stuff. Flame on! It's clobbering time! Here and there, I wanted to see them be more fantastic. But, really, before I continue rambling, that's really all I have to say about this film. What did you think? Let me know in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, share this video, share the channel. I appreciate all of you. We're sitting at like 23 subscribers. I'm hoping we can get to 50 by like, let's say 2 months from now. I think that's a good goal, but that's all I have for you guys. Stay cool in the summer and take care. Fantastic, ain't it?